You're listening to Business Lunch with Roland Frasier. This is your seat at the table.
Why don't you, Jeff, just tell us, number one, a little bit about yourself and your business.
My name is Jeff Charlton. I own a company named Graphic Connections Group, and I've been in business since 1992. That's 28 years. We are in the printing, graphic design, and direct mail business. Basically, I say if you want to put your name on anything, we do it. And
yeah, so
distributing it as well.
There's it would actually be worth exploring. I know that Jeff, and you can probably say this better than me, Jeff, but I'll try to say it succinctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. So Jeff is a company. Jeff's company is a mail house, which basically for one of our businesses, Real Estate Worldwide, sends out solicitations for our customers to real estate people. So we sell in Real Estate Worldwide a software as a service subscription that aggregates data about vacant houses and cash buyers and things like that. And then those people who buy that data then use that to identify a target list of people whose homes might be interesting to buy. And then they contact them in several different ways, but one of the best is is direct mail. So Jeff owns a mail house that sends those direct mail solicitations. And what we are going to try to do for you guys is to put together a program with Jeff where you can have direct mail too, that you would send out to lists of folks who might be your potential buyers. But we still are working on the software side to aggregate the people so that you can say, hey, I'm interested in businesses that are in this range and so on and so forth, or this geographic location. So if we can get that dialed in, then that'll be a service that we'll try to make available for you. That's something we're working on. The other cool thing about Jeff is that I know Jeff as a result of my deal with Kent. So I own 20% of Real Estate Worldwide, which with Kent Clothier, which I paid no money for because we know the things that we know that you guys have all learned. Then Kent, at the intensive that I first talked with them about these kinds of things, talked with Jeff and said, hey, we're sending you guys some business. How about if you give us some equity in your company as well? And then Jeff said,
yes.
Yeah. So what's really cool is because Jeff, and that was because he saw that it was that we were sending him a lot of business, and that it would make sense to give us some of his business and cause us to be even more focused on sending him business. So we're always looking for opportunities to send Jeff business. And so just so you guys see, it's this is a deal after a deal. So it's kind of a double no money deal, but everybody wins. Kent's very happy. Jeff is very happy, and you can absolutely do these things. So just so
there's one more benefit to that too that you didn't mention.
Go ahead.
Kent is now more obligated to send me business.
Yeah,
he was not obligated before. I was just another vendor.
Yeah, you're right.
Vendor. We did a good job. We had a good relationship, but at any time he could have said, "I'm going to find somebody better and cheaper or faster or whatever." Now he has no motivation to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good for me.
It is. So that's cool. Just so you guys see, these are deals that we absolutely do all the time. But what was really cool is Jeff is in the process of acquiring another company, and we're trying to finagle that to be this kind of deal too. And when I was on the phone talking with him about it, he said, I've done a ton of these no money down deals. I've done, I think it was 18 acquisitions over the last 10 years or so, and about 10 of them have been no money down. And I was like, well, why don't you just come on and share what you've done? And he's like, I'd be happy to. So that's why we're here, for Jeff to share his wisdom. So I'm super excited too, Jeff, because once we get the next no money down deal done with you, then we've got like a triple no money to no money to no money connection, and it's just super fun. So would you give us a little bit of your thinking on the companies you bought and kind of break down some of that stuff for us?
Sure. So let me give you a little bit of background so you have some context. I'm in the printing business. I've been in this business now 35 years, and it's been a shrinking industry since day one. And I knew that the day I got into it, but I liked it, so I stuck with it. So in a shrinking industry, you constantly have companies going out of business. So I have bought 18 companies And it's actually been 20 years, not 10 years, but I did most of the acquisitions prior to 5 years ago. So it happened in about 15 years. I started out as a broker. I bought and resold everything. I had no manufacturing. So the first acquisition I got into is I wanted to get into the graphic design business. So I found a graphic design company. It was actually a freelancer that I was doing business with. They had a graphic design company as well, and I made a deal with her. It wasn't no money down, but it was very little money down to basically get her to come to work for me and start a division within my company for graphic design. That was my first deal. Second deal is I bought a print shop, and I bought it. That was a straight cash deal, and I bought his entire company. He came to work for me with his entire shop, and that got me into the print manufacturing. Since then, every other deal was when times got tough, and which was a lot of those times in the printing business over the last 20 years, we started looking for companies that were failing to acquire. And in every case, well, almost every case, I was able to do it for little to no money down. And my typical deal was I'd give them some small token of money, like $5,000, just to make the guy feel like he got something in cash. And I'd pay him 10% of sales that we generated from his clients over the next 3 years. And our objective was to grow those sales, and he would get whatever we would make happen, he would get a cut of that. So if I tripled his sales, he got 10% of triple the sales. And so he was incentivized to help me maintain those clients. But it was no risk for me, because if it didn't work out, all I was out was that minimum amount of money up front. I did make I'd say about 8 of those deals were literally no money down. And it was completely a betting on the future type of deal. One of the things you mentioned earlier in this call, Roland, is about me sending letters for these guys. That's one of my strategies, okay? I just did it. In fact, this deal we were talking about came from a letter that I just sent out about 3 months ago. When the COVID hit and times got tough, I figured there's going to be more printers hurting. So I sent a letter to about 750 printers and ad agencies in the St. Louis area saying, if you're interested in cashing out for whatever reason, and it was a letter that laid it down a bunch of, gee, you're probably in pain type of thing. And I said, I can help you. I specialize in creating win-win scenarios where we both walk away happy, and maybe I can help you out of your bad situation right now.
Jeff, is there any chance that you might be willing to share that letter with us so that we could show people?
No problem.
That's awesome. Thank you.
And I had 3 people respond to that. One was a deal I wasn't interested in at all. One I actually tried to make happen, and the guy was just not reasonable, so that didn't happen. And then the third one was an agency, which that deal just fell through as well, but we were close on that one. But they don't all happen. Of the 18 deals I made, I would say I looked at 50, and I was able to actually close on 18 of them. So
let's talk, just so people can understand the direct mail, kind of the response rates and stuff like that. So how many did you send out?
750 letters.
Okay. And where did you find the list?
I just bought a list of all the printers and ad agencies in St. Louis. That's a very simple list to buy. You can buy that for any industry you're looking at.
Okay. Where do you buy the list from?
I have a couple list companies. One I use is called AccuData, but there's probably 10 national list companies. For that type of simple data, it's available anywhere for 4 cents a name. It's very cheap.
Okay, great. So you spent, I can't do that math. That's what?
Well, their minimum order was $150, so I spent $150. So
yeah, 150
for the list.
$150. You sent out 750 letters, which probably cost you less. But how much would somebody expect normally to spend for that?
$1 a piece. So you got $750. You're all in for under $1,000.
Okay. Now, so you spent $1,000, sent out 750 letters, and you got how many responses?
I had 3. So
3
it wasn't
responses.
like I'm setting the world on fire, but these are very specialized responses.
Yeah,
that was 3
exactly.
very interested people. It wasn't just some guy fishing,
Now, so are these people who are expecting to have a conversation about selling their business to you?
Yes, that was in the letter. It
Okay.
specifically said, I am interested in acquiring your business in some sort of a win-win creative situation. And I gave my personal cell line and my email, and they contacted me directly.
Okay, great. And then you said over the past those 10 deals, you've talked to about 50 people. So you've had about 50 responses, or?
I didn't do them all through direct mail. That was one of my strategies. Other strategies, just to go to the internet and look at the various business for sale websites out there and talk to business brokers and just look for things that are available. I'm doing that right now.
Okay.
I spent an hour right before this call fishing on the internet looking for available agencies.
I love it. And on the business broker side, do you find how many of the deals of the 10 deals that you did had a business broker involved?
4 of them did.
Okay. And how were those deals to do versus the other deals? More difficult, about the same, less difficult?
I thought they were more difficult, frankly, because the business broker added a level of legality and policies and all this stuff that made it more difficult.
Okay. Cool.
They want to be in the middle of the whole thing, and I'm a guy that likes to negotiate directly with people. And so having them in the middle, I thought was a pain in the butt. But it worked out
I
okay.
agree 100%.
Yes.
Okay. So now let's talk about, so now on this particular thing, I know because you and I talked about the agency deal and those people just had a kind of an unrealistic value expectation. Although remember that the deal that you don't do today is very often the deal that comes back and is even better when they come back.
Right. And you
Yeah.
can't,
And those guys,
I was going to say one thing, you cannot get too hung up. You have to be ready to walk away. You only make the deal that's good for, I mean, I don't want to say just for me. I believe in win-win scenarios, but I try to put forward a win-win scenario at all times. And if they don't see the win, then you can't force it. You can't put a square peg in a round hole. So you just got to be willing to walk.
yeah, exactly. So, and so you said then one was didn't work out. One was that deal, which will very likely come back because they need you. And then what was the third one without saying what the company was? Just what
That
kind
was
of,
just, there was a small print shop that he had two locations. He was a small franchise. He told me up front in the opening conversation I had with him, I talked to the guy for about an hour, and he basically cried on my shoulder for an hour and said he was failing, he was losing his ass, and his wife's mother was sick and blah, blah, blah. And he said, I'm going to close this business no matter what, whether I make a deal with you or not. So if you could do something for me, that's a bonus. So I thought that was going to be a slam dunk. Well, it turned out it wasn't a slam dunk. And the guy, we started talking about it. He just had these expectations, even though he told me, I'm going to close no matter what. And when you close no matter what, you lose everything. He had this feeling that his business was worth way more than it was. It wasn't worth anything.
well, he was closing it.
Yes. It had zero
It's so
profits,
crazy.
losing money. Yes. So, I mean, I was disappointed because I wasn't interested in his business. In fact, in all these deals, other than the first 2 deals I made for the print shop and the graphic design studio, every other deal I was buying customer lists. It wasn't, I didn't care about the equipment. In fact, in most cases, we backed up a dumpster to their office and threw everything in the dumpster, called the scrap guy, because this old equipment in the printing business isn't worth anything. So but that was one of the hooks. Most of these guys were stressed out. They're losing money. They got this massive mess on their hands. And part of the win was, look, we're going to come in and take care of everything. You're just going to walk away and let me take care of it. And a lot of people but were to a point of, ready to close, that's attractive to them. And so that's a lot of what the house flippers do. They say, hey, we'll take your house over and you can just walk away.
I have a couple of questions from folks. Doug Wood wants to know if they were failing, how did you handle their debt?
No debt. I've never taken on any debt. It's an a asset purchase only. That's part of the negotiation though, because when people have debt, that's a problem for them. So if you can't find a way to solve that debt problem, that the deal probably won't happen. But one way to solve it is for them to file bankruptcy or to walk away. A lot of the debts in the printing business where people had leases on equipment, and those are not secured debts. And the worst thing can happen is they take the equipment back. So people don't like to walk away from debt because they like to pay their bills, and I get that. But when you're at a point where you're losing your ass, you have no choice, look, it's simple as this. I'll do this deal, but I'm not taking on your lease. So you either can keep paying it and because you're a nice guy, or you can walk away, and that's up to them.
Did you find the broker represented deals through the broker, or did the sellers bring in the broker after you showed interest?
I started with the broker. That was always the case, yeah, because that's how I found the deal was through the broker.
Awesome.
Which is what's happening now. When you go online right now, most of the things you'll find online will have a broker representing them. And that's who you get the information from in the first place. So you can't get rid of that guy because he's there in the middle of it. So and I wouldn't try to. I mean, he deserves his commission. But what I do when there is a broker is I try to talk to the people directly anyway and make the deal and go back to the broker and say, here's the deal, write it up.
I agree. It's like, no problem. Whatever deals you guys have, no problem. I got to talk to the seller though, because
yeah, exactly.
I don't want to have anything misunderstood, and I need to know straight from the horse's mouth. Eric asked, Jeff, did you value the equipment at anything, even if it was only going to be trashed? Were these deals primarily to acquire their lists or clients as the main asset? Which I think you said yes.
Yes, the answer is yes, to acquire the list and the clients. The equipment, I mean, I may put a value on it just to make the guy feel good, but really, every business is different. But in the printing business, old printing equipment is a boat anchor, so there is just nothing. It has no value. And
so I can't help but ask this because of what you said before. Would you guys be interested in, like, if you said, I'm interested in buying a digital marketing agency in the state of California or in San Diego or something like that, would you guys be interested in having Jeff do the list acquisition and mail for Lori's like, yes, do the acquisition and basically do a mailing for you? Like, say, okay, can you identify Jeff for me? I need 1,000 people that are going to do this. So a lot of people said yes. So Brian, Laurie, okay, Nate, lots of people, Dave, Gibbon. So
I found the key, frankly, this is just my opinion. I can't speak I haven't done this for anybody else, but my experience, when you're writing this type of letter, this is different than your typical marketing thing. I'm trying to pull on the heartstrings of the people I'm writing it to. So it's a sales letter. That's a very personal sales letter.
Yeah, I can
basically paints a picture of, hey, I know you're in pain. And if you can relate to this pain I'm talking about, you need to call me.
So how about if I give you the template letters, I can give you plenty of letters for folks to pick from, and then you acquire the list from them and mail it. You don't have to say now if you can't, but would you let us know what, I don't want anything for doing it. I just want it to be for these guys. But would you let us know what that might look like cost-wise?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's, if it's just a simple, I can tell you right now, I didn't have to do a lot of calculations. If it's a simple 1 or 2 page letter, assuming it's only personalized on the first page, actually the format is either a front and back single piece of paper letter or a 4-page 11 by 17. Either way, those can be both fully personalized front and back. The 8.5 by 11 is about $1 a piece. The 11 by 17 is about $1.20 a piece. That's all in postage and everything. That would be mailing at standard mail. If you want to go first class, add another 15 cents to that.
Yeah, I find that like the pre-canceled bulk stamps deal works the best. The first class, it just doesn't. It's not worth it. Even though
matter. I agree with that. It doesn't matter unless you're in a hurry. But it's gonna add about another 7 days onto the mail time to go bulk. And we use stamp and we have kind of a fake first class stamp we use. It looks like first class and nobody knows the difference.
Yeah. That's cool. Okay. So, and what's the minimum number of letters that somebody should send out in your opinion?
Well, I mean, if you take my numbers, I've done this mailing probably 7 or 8 times over the years. I've never gotten more than 3 responses, and I never mailed less than 500. I mailed between 500 and 1,000. Now it all depends on what you're going for in your territory. You can't control the list, so that's somewhat out of your control. But anything less than 500, you're probably not going to get much. Because again, this is very specialized. Finding someone that's ready to sell their company, it's not a high percentage of people that are in that position.
Yeah.
So you got to give yourself a chance.
I think if we play with it, we should be able to get 5 on the low side and 15 on the high side from that number of people. So I think we can play with that. Have you tested doing multiple mailings to the same list?
I haven't had to. Frankly, I've always been able to do one mailing and get a deal out of it. So I've been able to get a deal out of every mailing I've ever done. So I stopped at one deal. Because it's not like I'm this guy that can handle 3 deals at once. So one deal is usually good for a year's worth of effort, and then I go to another one.
So if I'm you guys, I would get my list identified. I would test multiple letters. I'd plan on spending at least $3,000 and mail 1,000 pieces 3 times to the same list, and try different approaches because you just have to be in the right place at the right time. So let me talk then, Jeff, about the specific deals. Will you break down some of the deals that you've done for us just so we can kind of get a flavor for it?
Sure. Let me think of one. Well, I'll use that, the agency, the first one I did, the first deal I did with that gal that had the design studio. She was a graphic designer she was a freelancer that I'd worked with for years and was good. And she decided to start her own little small agency in a print shop. And she didn't do well at that. And she ultimately was failing at that. So I was able to get her to agree to come to work for me as an employee. And I gave her I separated her company off as a separate division within my company and said, you can have your own little company within a company, because she wanted to have her own identity. So I actually let her name it and everything, treat it like a separate company, treat it like its own entity. And I gave her a cut of the profits out of that entity. And I took all the risk off her plate. So in her case, she didn't have any debt, but she had a lease and everything. So I helped her get out of the lease with her landlord and solve all her financial problems. She came to work with me for nothing and was an employee, and it worked out great. She worked with me for a couple of years, and she got my graphic design department off the ground because I knew nothing about it at the time. I knew how to order freelancing, but I didn't know how to run a graphic design studio. And she did all that, and we were successful and got me into the graphic design business. I've been there ever since. She ended up after 2 years, she ended up wanting to get back into her own deal. And so I helped her to actually do that, to get back in her own business, because it was a win-win situation, and she'd helped me. So, it worked out good. She got me into the business, and we both got something out of it, and got her through a tough time, and it was a win-win thing. So it's really important especially if you're going after a company that there's two reasons somebody would want to sell their company to you. Number one, they can't, most creative people, are these all agency people we're talking to, Roland? Is that
No.
People all different businesses?
Lots of different folks.
Okay. Well, in most businesses, the people that run a business, they're good at a trade, and they start a business, but it's really a job. And they're doing what they're good at. And that's usually, whatever it is they're good at, whether it's running a restaurant or being a graphic designer or running a printing press, but they're not good at learning how to sell. And so a lot of people hit what I call a glass ceiling, where they grow to a certain point, but they can't get any bigger. They can't figure out how to sell. And they try and they fail, and they try and they fail. And so that's somebody that wants to be in the business, but they need some way to expand. So they might, if you have a way to help them sell or help them get more business, that they might be interested in that. The other kind of person is somebody who just wants to get out because they're either retiring or they're losing. Well, there's two different issues there too. Someone that's retiring that has a successful company, that's when you're probably going to have a hard time buying for no money down, I would think. But somebody that's failing that wants to get out because either they're retiring or they're just fed up, that's a different scenario too. That's also definitely a candidate for a no money down deal, because again, they don't have a lot of options. There's not a whole lot of people lining up to buy failing companies.
Love it. Awesome. Dude, thank you so much for taking the time to come in. Really appreciate it. Would you be kind enough to share your email copy with Miss Deanna, and I'll play with it with you as well, and let's see if we can, because we're shopping together anyway for those things. Let me see if I can help get that response rate up, and let's share. We'll share with everyone here what you sent out, and then I put Jeff's contact information in here for you guys. Jeff, why don't you give everybody your contact information for those that are listening on audio or on Facebook that haven't seen it yet?
Okay, the phone number is 800-378-0378. 800-378-0378. My email address personally is jc, just like my initials, jc@gcfrog.com. That's jc@gcfrog.com.
Awesome. Thank you again. Really appreciate it. See you soon.
Good luck to you guys.